Welcome to a new video. Today we're going to take a look at the last support that I haven't talked about in Synchro, Lyrilusc. Now, Lyrilusc is a very known archetype to be played with Brigade, but here they're getting a very nice amount of support that actually help them quite a bit, and it's a very strong overall support. Now, before we jump right into the video itself, there are two things I want to say. The first one is that, well, Dawn of Majesty is right around the corner, so I am going to start doing reviews for Dawn of Majesties for things that I haven't done before. So Magic I already done, so I'm not going to do that. But the other stuff, we'll see what you guys want in the Discord first. I'm going to make a server for that, and we'll see what you guys want to see first. And I'm going to cover up as much archetypes as I possibly can until Dawn of Majesty and maybe even later, because Dawn of Majesty is a pretty cool set. But before we jump right into the video itself, the usual thing, if you want to see more videos like this and help the channel as a whole, I would really appreciate if you can hit the subscribe button, like the video if you enjoyed it, and let me know in the comments down below if there's some particular interactions of cards or some ideas that I'm kind of like missing, because I could miss things. I'm a human after all, we all make mistakes. But without further ado, let's jump right into the review itself. So, starting this review off, we're going to start things with Beryl Canary, which is the first monster for the archetype. Now, this card has a very cool effect, which is basically, if this card is in your hand, you get to target one Lyrilusc monster in your graveyard, which can be another copy of itself if you have that in the graveyard, special summon this card, and then special summon that target. But you are locking yourself for Xyz monsters for the rest of the turn, which might sound a little bit of like, you know, kind of a shame, and this card is not being that good, but I'm still going to give this card a 4 because, yeah, this is actually a very good effect, because there is a new Xyz monster that works really well to just, like, you know, just can be summoned at the end of your Brigade combo, and then just, like, you summon it with this and another material, and she's still very good. Now, I would say this, however, is that 99.9% of the time, this is not going to be a problem. You're going to use this at the end of the combo, but sometimes you are going to lock yourself into other things, so this card could be a little bit of a problem in that regard. But regardless, this card is still very powerful, giving you the, you know, the special summon that you need to make an Xyz monster that you actually want, and continue on with your plays with an additional, like, maybe 2 interruptions, or a search for a DD Crow, or whatever you need for the situation is actually very good. The other effect that it also have is that if it's used for an Xyz summon of a wind Xyz monster, you get to give that monster 200 additional attack, and the control of that monster cannot be switched, which is a nice little benefit, I guess. But mostly the effect of free special summon is very good. Next up, we have Celestine Wagtail. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that correctly. And this one is kind of like reverse version of Cobalt Sparrow, because the search for this one is spells and traps, which is very good, because you have very good banger spells and traps, you know, coming up, which we'll talk about them during the end. But beside that, it also has another nice effect, is that if you control a Lyrilusc Xyz monster, and this card is in your graveyard, basically, you get to equip it, like, should I say, not equip it, but attach this from the graveyard to it as a material. So, let's say you have Lyrilusc assembling Nightingales, right? And you have, like, 5 materials, but it's not enough, like, for example, for OTK your opponent, with everything you have on board. Well, this in the graveyard can basically attach to it immediately and give it the 6 attack it needs with the additional attacks that you have on the field, and allowing you to OTK. So this is a very good card for that regard. I'm going to give this one 5 stars. This is basically a different version of Cobalt Sparrow, that kind of like leading you into a different rabbit hole, I guess. It's kind of like a different play style if you're going with this in Cobalt Sparrow, like this is your first special summon and the only way to play. So this card is excellent. I think this is, out of the 2 monsters, I think it's the more consistent one, therefore why I'm giving it a 5. But I do think, like, the previous one is also very good. It just, this one, searching a spell and trap is a lot better than just, like, you know, maybe situationally lock yourself and get, like, an Xyz monster, because this basically allowing you to play. So this card is good. It's also another benefit in the graveyard. Excellent card. But that's it for the main deck monsters. Honestly, we only got 2 of them. Unfortunately, we're only going to get them in 2022 because, you know, Synchro Storm got delayed. But we also got very nice Xyz monsters, which, again, we're going to get in Synchro Storm. There is only 1 card here that we're going to get in, well, before 2022 in October, which we'll talk about it when we get to it. But the point is, we have, for the Xyz monster, Lyrilusc Ensemblue Robin, I believe how you pronounce this one. And this one is honestly my favorite out of the two Xyz monsters. It has the effect that it's gain 500 attack for each material attached to it, so bare body on someone with only 2 materials, this is 1,000. If you attach more to it, it can become bigger, but bare bones, it's 1,000 attack, which is not that bad for a rank 1. However, it also have a very, very good effect, and that is the reason why I said that, Beryl Canary can actually work really well for summoning this at the end of the combo, because this is an interruption. This card, if your opponent special summon a monsters, you get to basically detach 1 materials from this card, and then bounce one of these monsters back to his hand. So, let's say your opponent is going to start normal summoning for example, like the monster that you want to. You have this on the field, you bounce that back. They're still trying to special summon something else. No, you bounce that back. This is not a hard once per turn effect. By the way, just to let you know, this is not a hard once per turn effect. There is no a hard once per turn written on this card. So, this bounce effect is as much materials that you have. So this card is absolutely ridiculous and really, really powerful going first. I wouldn't say like it's the most broken thing in the world, because sometimes like a negate is better, but the bounce is very, very good to deal with some particular decks that rely on their normal summons. So giving you something like that is actually pretty good. And then also, if this card get destroyed by your opponent cards, you basically get to add a Lyrilusc monster in your graveyard and add it to your hand, so you get to recover resources. Very, very good card. I think I'm going to give this one, well, a 5. I think this is a very good monster. Like, just in general, even if you just summon it in any rank 1 deck, this is still 2 bounces. It says 2 level 1s. It doesn't say 2 level 1 winged beast monsters, for example. So this card is very, very strong. I think this is like a very good card for Lyrilusc, or just in general in decks that can actually use it. I like this card a lot. I think it's a very powerful card. Then for the other Xyz monster, Prom Trash, I think Trash? I don't know how you pronounce that, Thrush, I guess. This card is good, but not as good as the previous Xyz monster. This one have the ability, the same effect of gaining the attack, 500 attack for each material, but it also have 2 additional effects which are more offensive. The effect that you can detach 1 material and then target 1 spell trap your opponent controls, and then basically shuffle it into the deck. It doesn't destroy it, it doesn't send it to the graveyard, it shuffle it back into the deck, which arguably could sometimes be said that it's actually better. It still targets, but you are able to get, for example, rid of the magical meltdown for invoked if you need to get rid of that. You can get rid of like Shadow Schism if you're able to get rid of that. There are a lot of things that this card can do, which making this card very, very good. And then the other effect that it has, which also nice for OTK, is that at the start of the damage step, if another of your monsters battles, you get to detach any materials from this card, and then the battling monster gains 300 attack for each material detached until the end of the turn. So basically, let's say we have Assembly Nightingale on the field, and this has 2 materials, and that Assembly Nightingale have 5 materials, so it's 1,000 attack. You detach 2 materials from this at the start of the damage step. It doesn't say that, like, you know, it has to attack a monster, it has to be only at the end of the damage step. No, it's until the end of the turn. So you detach 2 materials, you increase the Assembly Nightingale to 1,600, and it can attack 5 times to the face. So basically, 1,600 times 5, it's 8,000, it's OTK. Very, very good. But I don't think it's as good as the previous one, which is why I'm giving it 3 stars. I think it's more of like, if I'm going second card, it's probably will see maybe play in the, Tri-Brigade version, because the Tri-Brigade version is already pretty tight in terms of the extra deck, so I'm not 100% sure it will see play there. But I could consider this, at least in the pure version, it will see play. I think in the Tri-Brigade, they will consider this as a one-off, if they will have the spot for it, because it's still a very, very good card. But, like I said, it's not as good as the previous one, which is just good in general. So, this card very good, just not as good as the previous one. Then, we're moving on into the spells and traps. And for the first spell, which is absolutely a broken spell, it's 5 stars already, this card is Lyrilusc Bird Call. And this is either a Foolish Burial or as Rhoda for Lyrilusc, with the also ability afterwards to special summon 1 Lyrilusc monster with a different name from your hand. Like I said, 5 stars. This card is absolutely ridiculous. This is a card that you search with your new wagtail, basically, most of the time. So basically, you just let's say you do your normal thing, you search it, you activate this card effect, you get to dump or add to your hand whatever Lyrilusc that you want to, and then you get to trigger another one to special summon itself, and most of them can also special summon others, making this card absolutely ridiculous. And even just in general, even if this is the only card that you open up with, this opens up so many possibilities for the deck, which making the card so powerful. It's a very, very good card. 5 stars, like I said. This is a very, very good card. After Bird Call, we have a very interesting card that coming out for us in Brothers of Legend, which is probably going to come out there because it came out in Animation Chronicles 2021, so I guess it's going to come in Brothers of Legends. But this card is Lyrilusc Bird Strike, and Bird Strike is a very interesting card. This card, if you control a Lyrilusc monster, you get to negate all effect of all face-up monsters you currently control until the end of the turn. However, this is not a quick play spell. And it's not as good as Hobby Featherstorm, and it's kind of like an archetype version, I guess, of Dark Ruler no more, which is okay, but I think overall, out of everything, because it's not a quick play spell, this is the worst card on the archetype. It's still a very, very good card, I guess, for the side if like you really need a Dark Ruler in future games, like maybe in future formats, like if Dark Ruler really needed, you technically have additional 3 copies of in archetype Dark Ruler, but I guess it's worse than Dark Ruler because it doesn't make the monsters not able to activate their effects, or it's just not as good. It's really not as good. It's a 2-star card at best. I think this card is basically the worst card out of the sport, even from the next one, which the next one I don't really like it that much, but it's still very good compared to this, because this card, like I said, it's kind of just very easy for your opponent to negate, and the fact that it's not a quick play spell is a big deal. So this card, meh. I like the card art, but it's a meh, like I said. Then for the next card, which is Lyrilusc Bird Sanctuary. This one is pretty much the worst card in, well, Synchro Storm support, but it's still a very, very nice card. This card allowing you to target 2 winged beast monsters you control and attach one of them to the other as a material with all of the materials, giving you the ability to just make a big chunky Lyrilusc Xyz. So basically it's supposed to help very much Assembly Nightingale to get like tons of materials so you can OTK, for example, or Blue Robin to basically just giving you the ability to just bounce as much as possible that you want to. But on top of that, it's also have a nice effect, I guess, that kind of like sometimes come up, that you're able, if you control a monster with 3 or more materials, you get to draw a card, which is nice, I guess. It is a searchable card, so you can play a one-off, but I don't think it's that good. I'm going to give this one a 2-star as well. I do think it's better than Bird Strike, but it's not really that good. It doesn't come up to Bird Call, or even the next card, which is actually a very nice interruption as well in the spell and trap department. So this card is okay. It's just not super amazing, but it's still a lot better than Bird Strike in terms of, like, you know, usability most of the time. And then for the last card, the Trap, Lyrilusc Bird of a Feather. This card is very good and very underrated. This card allows you to target 1 Lyrilusc monster you control, change the attack of all face-up monsters your opponent control currently to that target. Also, the level and ranks of them become 1. And then, when an opponent declares an attack on a Lyrilusc monster, you get to banish this card from the graveyard, and then your battling monster becomes the same attack as that monster, which is pretty cool. So, giving you a very, very nice like effect. I'm going to give this one 3 stars. I don't think it's like amazing interruption, but the fact that like we're going pretty much into maybe a synchro format with the Zhang Yang or whatever they're called, or other, like, you know, archetypes that really depend on you having a specific level for stuff. This is a very good effect, giving you the ability to turn all of your opponent monsters into 1, which actually can disrupt quite a bit of things more than you think. Like, for example, if your opponent needs a specific level for, like, making an Xyz monster, you make all of them 1, they cannot do anything. They're trying to go into Synchro, you make all of them 1, they cannot do anything. It's not an amazing card, I'm going to say again, but I think it's a lot better than people give it credit for. The other effect in the graveyard is also a very, very nice benefit. I do think in the spells and trap department, except from Bird Call, I'm going to say this right now, they're a little bit lacking, but I think like this and Bird Sanctuary can be played as nice one-offs, and maybe even Bird Call, the Bird Strike, I guess, although I think Bird Strike is not that good compared to them, but it can be played as a very nice one-off that just help the archetype quite a bit. So I'm going to give, like I said, if I haven't said this already, 3 stars. Very nice interruption, not amazing, but it's a very interesting way to give your archetype another way to kind of like prevent your opponent from actually doing things. So that's kind of cool, I guess. But that's pretty much does it for the support for Lyrilusc. We got actually a pretty chunky support. Honestly, the good support is only going to come for us in Synchro Storm, which is 2022, the start of that. Which is kind of a shame that we need to wait that long, but no, it is what it is. We have to wait things sometimes, so, you know, we'll see what we're going to see, like, how they will fare till then, because maybe we'll just even going to see Tri-Brigade getting hit on the ban list, so who knows. But the point is that we got a pretty nice banger of cards. We got a very good Xyz monster, we got 2 very good monsters, and we got a very good search spell. We also got some decent other spells and traps. They're not as amazing, but they're still pretty decent. At least 2 of them, like Bird Sanctuary and Birds of a Feather. So we got a pretty nice chunk of support here with the additional 5 cards that are actually seeing play. Even without Tri-Brigade, this deck can actually function right now as a deck. So very good. I'm going to give this support overall 5 stars. I think this is a very good support. This is like, with Tri-Brigade, this is going to be absolutely tier 1 deck. I don't think it's going to be good as the pure version, but I still, like, with the Tri-Brigade, this is a tier 1 deck, definitely. It's a very good support, and already Lyrilusc Tri-Brigade is a thing. Like I said, it's not as good as, you know, pure Tri-Brigades, but, you know, maybe with this it will become the more preferred version to play. Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see what the future holds for us until 2022. But that's pretty much does it for the video and does it for all of the reviews. So if you enjoyed, don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know what kind of review you want to see more, like first from Dawn of Majesty, which is not Magic-y, because I already did the Magic-y one. But yeah, we're going to start talking about Dawn of Majesty before the set being released. So see you in the next videos, guys. Bye bye.